The air was fresh and alive as you began your climb together, the trail winding its way up the hillside like a path to the heavens. The sun was already beginning to dip towards the horizon, its golden light spilling across the landscape, making the world below shimmer as though it had been dusted with magic. Your footsteps crunched softly against the gravel path, the rhythm steady but unhurried. Birds flitted through the trees, their songs mingling with the sound of the gentle breeze that played with the leaves. The scent of pine and wildflowers filled the air, earthy and sweet, grounding you as you climbed higher and higher. They walked just ahead of you, turning every now and then to offer their hand when the path grew steep. Their smile was effortless, warm, and each time you took their hand you felt a quiet reassurance pass between you, a shared determination to reach the summit together. The trail began to narrow as it climbed, winding through groves of trees that dappled the light in shifting patterns of gold and green. The view grew more expansive with every step, the valleys below stretching out like a patchwork quilt of forests, fields and streams. The air grew thinner, cooler, but you hardly noticed the excitement of what awaited you fueling your every move. After some time the trees began to thin, giving way to open rock and patches of wild grass. You could see the peak now not far above, its rugged edges catching the golden light of the lowering sun. You paused for a moment, turning to look at them. Their cheeks were flushed from the climb, their hair tousled by the breeze, but they were glowing with a kind of joy that made you smile in return. "Almost there," they said softly, their voice carrying a quiet excitement. You both pressed on, the final stretch requiring a bit more effort as the incline steepened. But the promise of the view ahead made every step lighter. The horizon was ablaze now, streaked with vivid shades of amber, rose, and violet, as though the sky itself were celebrating your journey. At last, you reached the summit, a flat expanse of smooth rock that felt like the top of the world. The wind greeted you with a soft rush, carrying with it the scents of distant forests and the cool crispness of the evening. Together, you stood for a moment, taking it all in. The sun hung low in the sky, its light spilling across the landscape like liquid gold. Far below, the hills and valleys stretched endlessly, their edges softened by the warm glow of twilight. Lakes glinted like molten silver, and shadows stretched long across the earth, adding depth and contrast to the scene. You found a spot to sit near the edge, the stone beneath you still warm from the day's sun. They settled beside you, close enough that their shoulder brushed yours. For a while neither of you spoke, content to simply be present in the moment, to let the beauty of the world unfold before you. The sun dipped lower, its descent slow and graceful. The sky transformed in waves of colour, deep orange bleeding into fiery red, then softening into gentle hues of lavender and indigo. The light played across their face, highlighting their features in a way that made you pause, your breath catching for a moment. They turned to meet your gaze, their eyes reflecting the warm hues of the sunset. "Worth the climb?" they asked, their voice soft but filled with warmth. You nodded, your smile reaching your eyes. "Absolutely." The sun touched the horizon, painting it in radiant streaks of gold and crimson. A sense of stillness settled over the world, as though even nature was holding its breath to savour this fleeting moment. The wind whispered around you, carrying the faint rustle of the trees far below and the gentle hum of life in the distance. They leaned against you slightly, their head resting on your shoulder, and you felt a warmth bloom in your chest that had nothing to do with the sunlight. You laced your fingers together, the gesture small but filled with meaning. As the sun slipped fully below the horizon, the sky deepened into twilight, the first stars beginning to flicker faintly overhead. The world below softened into shadows, but the beauty of the moment lingered, etched into the quiet of the evening and the connection you shared. Time seemed to stretch and fade, the climb, the effort, the rest of the world all falling away. Here, at the highest point, with the sky's masterpiece unfolding above and their hand in yours, everything felt perfect. You stayed there together as the stars multiplied, the twilight giving way to night. And though the sun had set, its light seemed to linger, not in the sky, but in your hearts, a reminder of the beauty you had witnessed together. As the cool evening wrapped around you both, you knew this moment would stay with you forever, a memory of love, of adventure, and of a sunset that seemed to belong to just the two of you.